रिसेंट है।
हाँ।
आपका बेटा तीन बेटे का, दो बेटे एक बेटी। मुझे भी मालूम नहीं, आप नया न्यूज दे रहे हैं। तो अभी ह्यूस्टन में कैसे थे?
अरे ये तो मेरे को पता नहीं कि ये दिक्कत
श्रीकर रहेगा था।
तो वो ठीक है आपको
श्रीकर लगा।
ठीक है मुझे मालूम नहीं तो ठीक है फिर आपके कितने
सब लोग एक्टिव।
तो मेरे को तो ट्यूशन तो भी है मेरे को स्टॉप
नहीं वो, अच्छा वो तो आप जो डाल रहे थे ना ये मेरे एग्जाम।
नहीं चलेगा वो उससे डाल दो
फाइव
डाल देंगे
410 5 410 5
410 5 से 410 80 तक जाएगा।
हाँ पूरा
जय राधा माधव रविया हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे राम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलम् श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। So, Canto 4, Chapter 10, verse number 5. Gatvodicim disham raja रुद्रानुचर सेविता तदर्श हिमवद्रोण्याम् पुरीं गुह्यकसङ्कुलाम् गत्वोदिचिं दिशं राजा रुद्रानुचर सेविताम् ददर्श हिमवद्रोण्याम् पुरीं गुह्यकसङ्कुलाम् गतोदिचिं दिशं राजा रुद्रानुचर सेविताम् ददर्श हिमवद्रोण्याम् पुरीं गुह्यकसङ्कुलाम् Raja Rudranuchara Sevita Adarsha Himabhadronyam Purim Guhyaka Sankula Gatva going Udichim northern Disham direction Raja King Dhruva Rudranuchara by followers of Rudra Lord Shiva Sevitam inhabited Tadarsha saw Himavat Himalayan Dronyam in a valley Purim a city Gushyaka ghostly persons Sankulam full of translation purport by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Dhruva Maharaj went to the northern direction of the Himalayan range. In a valley, he saw a city full of ghostly persons who were followers of Lord Shiva. In this verse, it is stated, purport Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In this verse, it is stated that the Yakshas are more or less devotees of Lord Shiva. By this indication, the Yakshas may be taken to be the Himalayan tribes, like the Tibetans. Again, Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave. So, I beg the blessings of everyone. So, I have neither any qualification nor any realization. I just aspire to repeat the words of the great souls so that I can get their association. Actually, most important thing is that we should be attracted to the devotion of the pure devotees of the Lord. That is called Antaranga Sangha. Ultimately, the goal of life is to always remember Krishna and never forget him. And that is the great gift of the pure devotees of the Lord, that by their sound vibration, they create the Satchit Ananda. Their sound vibration contains eternity, knowledge, and bliss, and therefore, by hearing from them, one can have the great privilege of remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His internal potency. So that is our greatest good fortune, and the more we are connected to the pure devotees of the Lord and their eternal pastimes performed, even in this world, whatever activities they perform, more and more we are inspired by their Krishna consciousness. More we can get their blessing, so we can always remember the Lord. So the pure devotees of the Lord, they encourage and they inspire the conditioned souls to remember to uh, meditate on the Supreme Lord. So that is the purpose of Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha means to be inspired. Srila Prabhupada actually opened this Krishna conscious movement which is actually uh, not different from the spiritual world. Prabhupada actually opened this ISKCON movement to encourage everyone in this material world to actually mm, remember the Supreme Lord. So the last few verses, we have been seeing how um, Dhruva Maharaj, after attaining self-realization, is going to carry out his duty as a king. So it may appear very mundane, but because Dhruva Maharaj is a pure devotee, therefore everything he does is pure. A pure devotee, even though he may speak, of course, we should not imitate, but even if a pure devotee speaks a mundane subject, by hearing that we can become purified. What to speak of getting purified, we can even attain love of Godhead, even by hearing, them speaking about anything. So the reason why pure devotees of the Lord they come to this world, the reason why they may speak about mundane topics is to attract the living entities to the lotus feet of Krishna, because ultimately everything is coming from Krishna. Everything is ultimately has its roots in the spiritual world. So a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada has given us the great opportunity to always hear and chant about Krishna. So the last few verses speaking about how Dhruva Maharaj um, is, understanding that his brother had been killed. Dhruva Maharaj wanted to uh, settle the score, then Dhruva Maharaj wanted to uh, resort to warfare. So yesterday, Nikunjari Prabhu was speaking so wonderfully about how Dhruva Maharaj, mm, the previous verse, when Dhruva Maharaj heard of the killing of his brother Uttama by the Yakshas in the Himalaya mountains, being overwhelmed with lamentation and anger, he got on his chariot and went out for victory over the city of the Yakshas, Alakapuri. So this is a very important point. Bhagavad Gita also is a very important point. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna asked Arjun to fight. That's why Arjun is fighting. Arjun is not fighting just because it is his duty, just because he is Kshatriya. No. Arjun is fighting for the mission of Krishna. Arjun is fighting to establish Krishna's mission. Arjun is not fighting for his own mission. That's very important to note. So, a pure devotee, whatever he does is to establish the position of the Supreme Lord. He never wants to establish his own position. And everything he does is for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. And therefore, anything he does is unaffected by karma. He does not incur any reaction for what he does, a pure devotee of the Lord. Because he is under Krishna's protection at every moment. Daivi esha gunamahi mamaya durataya. Mam eva ye prapadyante maya vetam tantite. So he is always beyond the material nature because he never acts out of ego. So this verse is speaking about how when Dhruva Maharaj went to the northern direction, he saw a city full of ghostly persons. So Lord Shiva is Param Vaishnava, is Vaishnavanam, is the leader of all the Vaishnavas. But Lord Shiva in this material world is responsible for delivering those in the mode of ignorance. Lord Shiva is not in the mode of ignorance, but he's responsible for delivering those in the mode of ignorance. So, Prabhupada is saying that it may be taken to be the Himalayan tribes like the Tibetans. So, as you know, His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj is doing tribal preaching. So, one actually benefit of persons in that particular sect is they are very simple. They're very simple people. So, simplicity is Vaishnavism. If one is very simple at heart, then immediately Bhakti Rasa, he is eligible to actually taste Bhakti Rasa. What is simplicity? Simplicity means no duplicity. Simplicity means no other motive. And it Bhagavatam says that how one who rejects dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, one who does not aspire for those things, such a person can be said to be simple. Such a person can actually hear the message of Bhagavatam. So every verse of Bhagavatam is actually every um, word in Srimad Bhagavatam is actually a glorification of um, um, Srimati Radharani's love for Krishna. It is only prem. It is only love of God. Of course, this is not my personal realization, but it is a realization of the great souls. So, how can we understand this verse in that perspective? So, Dhruva Maharaj is a pure devotee of the Lord. A pure devotee of the Lord cannot forget the Lord even for a moment. Just consider that how much Krishna is so beautiful, Krishna is so attractive. When we see something mundane in this world, sometimes it captures our mind. We see something beautiful. Now, think about Krishna's beauty. Krishna's beauty is way beyond this world, the heavenly planets, and a pure devotee of the Lord, when he actually experiences Krishna and sees Krishna, um, like Dhruva Maharaj, how can he ever forget that form? So that form of the Lord is always imprinted in the back of the pure devotee's mind. He is always seeing the Lord. So um, whenever he sees anything in this world, he always sees actually a pure devotee of the Lord, especially Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada always would see Vrindavan everywhere. Vrindavan manifest everywhere. So actually, when a pure devotee is separated from the Supreme Lord, then there is particular kind of separation where it is said that um, it behaves as if haunted by ghost. So, like for example, in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Srimad Bhagavatam, when the Vrajvasis are actually separated from Krishna, then when Uddhav goes to actually see, Balram sends Uddhav to console the uh, Vrajvasis. So when Uddhav goes to see the Vrajvasis, he sees as if they're all behaving like they're haunted by a ghost. They are crying, they are rolling, they're sometimes laughing. He just can't understand. And when Uddhav tries to talk to them and convince them and explain to them, then they start chastising Uddhav. Uddhav, you are saying that our Gopal, this is Nanda Maharaj speaking. This is you are saying our dear Gopal is a supreme Lord. If that is true, that means We have lost both our son and we lost the Supreme Lord also. We lost both of them now. Now our situation is worse. Before we thought we only lost our son. Now you are saying we lost Supreme Lord also. And then they start crying more and more and more. And then Uddhav says, you are so fortunate. You have attained uh, the ultimate goal of the Vedas, that is uh, to cry for Krishna. Nanda Maharaj says that you don't understand what is the pain that we're going through. Uddhav, you are a mere boy. I forgive you. This is Nanda Maharaj's words. I forgive you.
We are what?
You're you're a mere boy.
Just
Uh, I forgive you. So like this, Nanda Maharaj is crying, Mother Yashoda is crying, and like this, Uddhav is shocked actually, shocked. So, and of course, we know how that pastime of how Srimati Radharani is in her moody vision. She looks at the bumblebee and speaks to the bumblebee as though the bumblebee is directly coming from Krishna. So, of course, this is um, very, very elevated. But at the same time, it is everything is related in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj says very nice thing that everything in Srimad Bhagavatam has so much power. Every akshar has the power to give us love of God. So it's not that even though some mundane things, quote unquote mundane things, according to our vision, may be described, why we have to read about, Dhruva Maharaj going and fighting, or Dhruva Maharaj's lineage, or Uttanapad's lineage, or Priyavat's lineage. No, everything is very significant because ultimately uh, it has its connection to the Vrajvasi's love for Krishna. And more than anything, Srila Prabhupada is a Vrajvasi. Therefore, his love for Krishna is actually imprinted in every single letter in our Srimad Bhagavatam. So, what is very important to note is that Dhruva Maharaj, after attaining self-realization, he continued of course, on the instruction of Supreme Lord, he continued to execute his duties. So, in Krishna consciousness, we have to execute our duties in whatever way, whether it is our family duties or our work duties, we have to execute them very seriously. And how we should execute them? We should execute them uh, according to the instructions of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. We should not do anything whimsically. We should do everything according to time to circumstance. Actually, everything has a way to be done. Everything. So we need to learn. We need to learn. If we do things, even quote unquote mundane things, the way Prabhupada asked us to do, the way Guru asked us to do, then what will happen is we'll be connected to the pure devotees. Because when we take the trouble to follow their instructions, then we become attached to them. Because just as Krishna is watching us, pure devotees also, when we follow their instructions, we build a deeper connection with them, we build a deeper attachment to them, and everything is reciprocal. So Krishna is sitting in our heart. Krishna is also sitting in the heart of the pure devotee. So when we take the trouble to follow the instructions of the pure devotee, then Krishna within their heart will give them the understanding that we actually have genuine love for them, genuine affection for them. And so they will be very much eager to bestow their mercy upon us. And that is our greatest asset. Whenever pure devotee thinks of us, whenever pure devotee is pleased with us, then our Krishna consciousness happens very easily, very easily. So we have to take it as our greatest responsibility to please them. And as we progress in our Krishna consciousness, we we understand that everything that we do is very significant, very significant. Actually, I have seen, like my spiritual master, I've seen many pure devotees, that how much they are hell bent on following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. Everything they do, it's not that it's only when they give class. Everything they do is actually expression of their love for their spiritual master. That's very, very significant. And if you have, and you have experienced it, like Prabhupada disciples, you see that they, everything they do is their display of the affection for Srila Prabhupada. And then when they start speaking about Prabhupada, it feels like they just spoke to Prabhupada like 5 minutes ago or something. So you can feel that extreme affection, surrender, love for Srila Prabhupada. And, so coming back to again this purport, Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnav. I mean, it's very different, nothing much to speak in this purport, but Lord Shiva is a great Vaishnav, and Lord Shiva, according to at least our Sampradaya, Lord Shiva always meditates on Krishna's Vraja Leela, and Lord Shiva's condition is that although Lord Shiva is in a very, you can say, very unconducive environment for Krishna consciousness, like sometimes we may be in that environment, that we're walking through a shop, or we're at work where conditions are not so conducive. So Lord Shiva, even at that moment, is very deep, deeply absorbed. So that is possible on a very high platform of Krishna consciousness. But even on lower platform of Krishna consciousness, it is very much possible. How? If we very carefully execute the instructions of pure devotees. If you're always connected to pure devotees, um, and praying to them for guidance, praying to them for, actually prayer is extremely powerful, very powerful, especially to pure devotees of the Lord. When we are very prayerful in our daily life, then they bestow their blessings. I mean, there's so many examples in our Shastra, but I was just reminded today of His Holiness Indrumna Maharaj actually. Recently, we had his darshan at Sadhu Sangha. So actually, Maharaj, when he first came to the movement, he was very much attracted by Vishnujan Maharaj. Vishnujan Maharaj actually stayed at his house, and Vishnujan Maharaj, he performed kirtan. They went for kirtan. They went for uh, propagation of Krishna conscious activities. And Maharaj was very attracted, and so much Maharaj was attracted that when they left, Maharaj uh, was crying in separation from them. So at that time, Maharaj was working as a particular. He was still working. So that very shortly after that was actually um, the appearance of Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur. So Maharaj was in his own humble way, at his workplace. I think he had a picture of Saraswati Thakur, and he was offering some incense, and he was bowing down. And then, and he was paying obeisance to Saraswati Thakur. He was praying to Saraswati Thakur that please help me. So at that time, his boss, came into the room and said that Uh, he couldn't understand what he was doing, and like sometimes Americans are quite, you know, short tempered. So he became very upset and he said, "You're fired. You're fired." And then, of course, going on, Maharaj did so much wonderful service in ISKCON. He became a full-time book distributor, and then eventually, of course, he took sannyas, etc., etc., etc. So the learning from this is that pure devotees respond. When we pray to them, when we really want help from them, they really respond. So all we have to do is we have to center our whole life around them. And that should be our sadhana actually. What is our real sadhana? Our real sadhana is always to cry for the mercy of pure devotees. That is our real sadhana. It's like our heartbeat is beating. So same way, constantly in our mind, we should be reminded of the pure devotees. We have to cultivate our relationship with the pure devotees. And actually, the more we can connect to them, the more we'll identify with their devotion. And if we identify with their devotion, then naturally that's the easiest way to attain uh, love for Krishna. Because Krishna belongs to his pure devotees. Krishna belongs to us. We sing it all the time, we know it all the time. But how much are we investing our heart in this principle? How much are we investing our heart in this principle? So we need to invest our heart in this principle. Srila Prabhupada, how much Prabhupada stressed? Prabhupada said, I simply followed the instructions of my Guru Maharaj. I simply followed. So, how can we follow actually? If we follow, we'll definitely get a lot of spiritual strength. If we follow, the more we follow the instructions of Guru and the Vaishnavas, the more we get spiritual strength. But many a times it becomes very difficult to follow. The body gives problem, the mind gives problem. We are unable to follow. How can we get the strength to follow? The more we become attached to them, the more we have affection for them, then we can follow their instructions. So the more we pray to them, the more that connection becomes stronger and stronger. And through the years, as you render more and more service, that connection becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And then we can really push ourselves, push ourselves, push ourselves. Like Srila Prabhupada, when Srila Prabhupada was in India in those years, Srila Prabhupada really, really, if you read the Lamrita, Prabhupada really sacrificed his comfort to preach the mission, to spread the mission of his Guru Maharaj. Prabhupada really sacrificed. Many days Prabhupada went without food. When many days Prabhupada didn't even have enough clothes to cover himself. Here in America, it's very cold. We are sitting in the heat. It's very nice. But those days, how much Prabhupada used to sacrifice? Prabhupada, those days couldn't afford any, could only afford rubber slippers. Just think about it. Walking in the pinching cold of New York with rubber slippers. So, like this, Prabhupada made a lot of sacrifices to please his Guru Maharaj. And at that time, nobody recognized him, nobody cared, but Prabhupada made extreme sacrifice. So that's very important to note that the more we sacrifice, sacrifice is actually the one of the purest expressions of love. So the more we can sacrifice to carry out the instructions, the more we get the mercy. The more we get the mercy, the more we get the mercy. So two things are very important. One hand, sacrifice is very important. And second, very important is that we need to avoid things in this world which are not pleasing to Guru, which are not pleasing to Guru. So we need to be very, very alert. We should not engage in activities which are not pleasing to him. Actually, so many wonderful pastimes are there, but one of the most wonderful pastimes in our sampradaya, which is very noteworthy actually for us, because attaining the lotus feet of Krishna, attaining love for the Brajvasis is a very high thing actually. Although it is our goal, but it's very high. Prabhupada gave us this process of Sankirtan, this process of spreading Krishna consciousness to attract the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, who is non different from Radha and Krishna, combined from Radha and Krishna, we can acquire that laulyam, that intense greed. And once you attain that greed, then there's no obstacle that can stop you. Body cannot stop you, the mind cannot stop you. We all have had experiences. Sometimes, when pure devotees are there, the environment is very much surcharged, and then we do things that we cannot even imagine to do. Like when Srila Prabhupada was present, devotees would have like um, their daily activities was like just unimaginable. Like everyday devotees wake up at like 1, 2 o'clock, finish 16 rounds, and not only that, go on the whole day for book distribution. Like if you go for a few hours, you feel very tired actually carrying that many books. It's very draining. How they managed to do it for like 10 years? And how much they did, so much they must have sold at least every day, at least 2,000, 3,000 books. They gained so much Lakshmi that they used to run the temple on that. Just think about it. They used to open new temples. Prabhupada used to get money from American book distribution to open temples in India. That's how much they used to do. It's unimaginable actually. So how they did that? Because of that very deep faith, deep love for Srila Prabhupada. So one very wonderful example is actually Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, it is mentioned, he mentions that when he's writing Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, that his hand was shaking, he was almost blind. And what he says that I am a wooden doll, and I am simply, um, my hand is moving according to the dictation of Madan Gopal. So, this is a perfect mood for follower of Srila Prabhupada, that if you can have this mood that I'm just an instrument uh, in the hands of my authorities, and I just want to serve them, I just want to please them. And in that way, by always having that mood that I'm just an instrument, wherever it may be, I'm just an instrument. If I'm doing kirtan, I'm an instrument. If I'm giving class, I'm an instrument. If I'm cooking, I'm an instrument. In any service, I'm just an instrument. If we have this mentality, then we can be very successful in performing our duty. The mercy of the previous acharyas can flow through us, and at the same time, we can have the adhikar to actually uh, to capture the mood, the pure love uh, from receive love of Krishna from the pure devotees of the Lord. So, because this is the greatest fortune for us to be uh, ambassadors of love of Krishna coming from the previous acharyas. This is the greatest privilege actually, because we can help people to such an extent that you know that nobody can imagine actually. We have that great privilege to be the servants of such exalted personalities. So, if we simply maintain this mode of being very humble, being very uh, submissive, and especially being very simple, then we can actually really help others. And by humbly helping others as an instrument of the uh, previous acharyas, of the gurus, then Mahaprabhu will be pleased, and by Mahaprabhu's pleasure, we can get the adhikar to acquire the lolium, acquire the greed. And we have seen this in the life of so many great devotees of the Lord. So, and it's possible, like uh, His Grace Mahatma Prabhu mentioned a statement. It's a very powerful statement actually. I'm just repeating. He said one time he was doing some japa seminars and he was traveling, and he said it was so ecstatic. Then one of his friends, who was proper disciple, asked him, how is he doing? So he said, Prabhu, it's so ecstatic that I've forgotten what is Maya. This statement. I've heard what is Maya in the Shastra, but I've not seen her in a long time. So then Mahaprabhu was mentioned, Mahaprabhu said, what is sign of good chanting? Sign of good chanting is you lose contact with Maya. So, what a realization. I mean, it's a very high realization. I mean, and for him to speak that on social media requires a very high level of spiritual maturity, because if you speak something like that kind of stuff you have not realized, you really pay a price. I mean, I've experienced when you speak something very high that you have no realization, you pay a very heavy price for that. So, I mean, this is the example for us, Mahatma Prabhu, that how Prabhupada's teachings actually they work. Prabhupada's process, Prabhupada's mercy is real. So that's why we have to take advantage of their association, of their Vani, you know. And recently, I was hearing also something very wonderful from him, actually, very wonderful. So he was giving a short snippet actually that how difficulties are needed. Many times we pray that I don't want difficulties. Krishna, why are you putting me through whatever difficulty it means? Why? So Mahatma Prabhu says difficulties help us in two ways. One way is difficulties help us to understand where we are in our Krishna consciousness, how Krishna conscious we are. And second is they help us to run towards Krishna. So Mahatma Prabhu says the more we run towards Krishna, as we pass more and more tests in Krishna consciousness, after a certain point, Krishna becomes very convinced, and Krishna removes the tests from our life, and Krishna arranges everything in such a way that basically Krishna helps us to attain love for him. Like you see all these pure devotees. Actually, although external difficulties are difficult, but actually at the root of all difficulty is that we don't have that much attraction, affection for Krishna. That is a real problem. If someone can have that immense attraction for Krishna, the immense love for Krishna, then there's no problem in this world actually. There can be no problem. There can be no problem. Just like we all have experience, right? That sometimes we may hear something very wonderful, like materialistic person may hear that, oh, I suppose, he got like $1 million. So suppose after he hears that news, someone comes and shouts at him, or he's in a very dirty place, or whatever it may be, his mind is always thinking of that. That, oh, when I'm going to get million, when I'm going to become a millionaire. So he's always thinking of that. So the same way, someone who has attained that love for Krishna, for him, this world actually doesn't matter. Whether he's famed, whether he's defamed, or whether he's praised, it really doesn't matter for him. So our real goal of life is to acquire that thing. Hmm. The goal of human life is to attain that thing. So like one time, my spiritual master was saying that, that yeah, he said, oh, what do you do? I mean, this is my spiritual master's realization. He said, what do you do when you're in difficulty? Just take up the chanting beats, start chanting. You realize, I mean, you're with Krishna. And then the next statement is very powerful. You realize you don't need anything else in this world. It's a very high realization. How many of us feel that when you're chanting, we have Krishna, we don't need anything else in this world? That's a very high real, especially when you're in some difficulty, serious difficulty. How can you have that realization? So that is the proof that those who have attained love for Krishna, they don't need anything else from this world. So that is should be our goal. And the more the goal is imprinted in our heart, the more the endeavor to actually achieve that goal will be more and more intense. So the more we can follow the instructions of the previous acharyas of Srila Prabhupada, the more we become attracted to them, and the more we become attracted to their Krishna consciousness. And the more we become attracted to their Krishna consciousness, the more our endeavor to attain that Krishna consciousness becomes more and more intense, more and more serious. So that's the great privilege that we have, that although the world may be very difficult, although our life may be very difficult, but we have the great opportunity, the great privilege of being related to people. I mean, related to liberated souls. Like, those of us who are initiated or aspire to get initiated, we're actually connected to, we actually have a relationship with Srila Prabhupada, with Saraswati Thakur, with Gaur Krishnas Babaji Maharaj, with the Goswami. We have a relationship with them. And what's even more exciting is that they're actually looking out for us. They're really looking out for us. They're looking to help us. So that is our great privilege. And the more we follow the orders of our authorities, try to please them, the more the connection becomes stronger and stronger. And of course, one last point is that mm, our real dharma as followers of Srila Prabhupada, it's like here Dhruva Maharaj is fighting because of Kshatriya. Our real dharma is preaching. We have to always look for somehow other way to preach, to spread. Like I was flying recently, I was flying to Florida from Detroit, and on my flight there was one person, uh, American person sitting beside me. So just before I left, I mean, before I got off the airplane in Florida, just casually, I told him that, I practice spirituality, and I asked him to repeat the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And after a few minutes, he's like, wow, this is amazing. Then I gave him vedabase.com, I gave him Audio ISKCON Desiratory. And after just 5 minutes, I mean, anyone can do this. He became so happy actually. And when he became so happy, I could immediately feel that wow, that Guru Prabhupada, they're so happy. They're so happy. And nothing in this world can compare to that feeling, right? When you can feel that Prabhupada, spiritual master, they're also happy. It's nothing compared to that feeling actually. And that's a great springboard for us to become Krishna conscious. It's a great springboard. We all know, like, There's nothing more powerful than when Guru is pleased with us, Prabhupada is pleased with us. So it just takes a little intelligence, a little endeavor coming out of our comfort zone to actually help people. For us, it's just a few minutes, but for them, it's a huge difference, right? It's a huge difference. What if they were to read? What if they were to hear? And what if they were to follow? It's amazing, actually. Right? So we should have this. Actually, His Holy Jagat Maharaj, recently I was speaking to Maharaj, and I was telling Maharaj that, you know, it's very difficult in America. Only in the summertime we get to talk to people. Maharaj said, why do you say only summertime? So all the time, whenever we have the opportunity, we should preach, we should speak about Krishna to whatever level, to whatever extent. We should have that mentality. We should not be shy, we should not be scared, we should not have this, mentality that I am Indian, I'll speak only to Indians, I'm Gujarati, I only speak to Gujaratis. And I'm not saying anyone here has that mentality, but we should be very much open-minded. Because by that we can make progress in our bhakti. How much that person takes to it, doesn't take to it, that is not uh, our responsibility. But by doing that, we're going to go forward in our bhakti. We're going to make a lot of progress in our Krishna consciousness. We'll get a lot of enthusiasm. So we should do that as much as possible. Whenever the chance is there, even for a moment, we should tell people about this process. Make them chant one time, just one time. Make them repeat Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And immediately you observe that you feel so happy. So, yeah, that's the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like, recently I was hearing also, His Holiness Shora Maharaj was saying that it's very important to assess, what we are doing for Srila Prabhupada, what we are doing for the temple. It's very important, very important. So, two things, Seva and sadhana, both have to go hand in hand. Both have to go hand in hand. Seva enhances sadhana, sadhana enhances seva. Both. Always, either busy in sadhana or busy in seva. Busy in sadhana, busy in seva. Like that. We should always have this mood. Then life becomes so wonderful. Life becomes full of meaning. Full of meaning. And one last thing I wanted to say is on this Bhaktivedanta Damodar Maharaj was mentioning that he mentioned that just like when we have an examination, the exam will come from whatever we are supposed to study. The same way he mentioned that whatever test we face in Krishna consciousness will come from what we have heard, what we have assimilated. Krishna will not give us a test that we don't know how to pass. Krishna will not do that. So I felt that was very profound, very profound. That we have all the information, we have all the opportunity to actually pass the test, to go to the next level, to go to the next level, to go to the next level, right? So, yeah. So Dhruva Maharaj is showing here in these few verses that although one is self-realized, one can still perform his duty. So, yeah, we need to perform our duty in such a way that it helps us to become Krishna conscious. That's the point. And it's very significant here also that in Srimad Bhagavatam, Dhruva Maharaj first attained that self-realization, then he is, carrying on his duties as a king. So in the same way, however busy we may be, uh, Krishna consciousness is our first priority. It is not our second priority. It is our first priority. Even if we may be so much busy sometimes, uh, if we are not able to do a sadhana in the morning, but still we should always mold our life in such a way that we always have Krishna consciousness as the first priority. To be Krishna conscious is the first priority, and it makes a huge difference. Like it just takes a second sometimes, We're doing some service, we're so busy, it just takes a second to put a lecture or to hear something. But it makes a huge difference in course of time because now we're rendering the service as a servant of Krishna, being absorbed in Krishna. Otherwise, many times when we leave the mind free, then it just goes into so many things, so many, thought patterns which are not so much useful for us. So, Krishna consciousness is a constant cultivation, it's a constant endeavor. It's not an overnight thing. It's not like overnight, suddenly one day we'll attain prema. No, it's a constant endeavor. So, this is what I wanted to speak today. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anyone has any question or comment? Online, anyone has any question or comment?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Jai Shri
Mm.
Prabhupada. Prabhuji, in the class you mentioned about, I think Maharaj talking that when we hold the bead bag, we think that this is all that I need.
Mm.
Nothing else is important. This is all that I need. So, Prabhuji, can you elaborate little more how, from Maharaj or from your own experiences, how do we keep this consciousness uh, ongoing, constant?
Yeah, actually, like I said, no, it is not something that it's not a thinking actually, it's Maharaj's realization. So the thing is, someone who has realized is not me, but someone who has realized that Krishna and Krishna's whole name are not different. They can actually feel Krishna's presence. Only they can have this kind of realization. So yeah, it is not something that can be attained. It is something that has to be avoided. But what we can do is we can associate with such devotees who have had that kind of realization. So then we can have some abhas or some shadow. So like we know that our spiritual master or masters, they have this kind of realization. So what we can do is we can try to spend as much time with them by hearing their vani, by praying to them, etc., etc. In that way, although it may not be our realization, it is their realization, but their realization will rub off on us. Like sometimes we have experience that when spiritual master chants or spiritual master is there, even we play sometimes a recording, we see that immediately the atmosphere changes, at least in our mind, right? Our vision changes, right? So, like for example, this is Gracie Shukru, when he speaks, immediately you see there is an immediate effect on the consciousness, right? Like one day I was actually dressing on the altar and I just came out. The conscience was not so wonderful, was not so good. But I was hearing, and after I heard some time from His Grace Yoga Prabhu, when I saw the deities, immediately I saw difference, positive, wonderful difference. The deities were looking so much more attractive to my to me, right? So the thing is, the more we connect, the more we can receive their blessings, right? That's all I can say. I mean, I have no realization on this. So,
Thank you, Prabhuji.
and that's
So,
also one more thing that Krishna consciousness is not a process, not just a process. It's actually dealing with a person. I think that can help a lot, right? It's not a process. Krishna is not doesn't have like a exam paper and is not taking off that okay, you chanted this, you did that, okay, I did it. No, Krishna is looking at the feeling. And Prabhupada says, we want to purify the feeling. That is the
mm,
purpose of our Krishna consciousness. The
mm,
feeling is most important behind the action. So even though we may not be successful, but if we focus on our feeling, that is very much pleasing to Guru Krishna and the Acharyas. Actually, that is one more amazing thing about Guru and the Acharyas. They give us mercy based on what we will become in the future also. Like they expect that we will make advancement in the future, and so they give us so much mercy.
mm,
Nobody in this world does that. Like Have you seen any boss in this world who pay you, say that, okay, no problem, in the future you will do this project, so I'm giving you this money. Nobody in this world will do that. But Guru and the Acharyas, they will do that. For what you will get in the future, they will give you mercy, they'll give you so much right now. So that is something very encouraging.
Mm.
Behind the Prabhu famous statement is that, you know, that actually, you know, uh, the previous acharyas, they hardly expect us to come perfect. They just see how hard we're willing to try.
Mm.
So that is for me personally is very, very encouraging.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very grateful.
Anyone else has any question or comment?
The last point you made, that would also came out in Satyananda Maharaj's retreat, that Krishna is grateful for what you are going to do in future.
Mhm.
That is amazing. Krishna is grateful for not what you are doing now, what you will do in the future. Thank you.
Right. Anyone else has any question or comment? Okay. Thank you very much, all of you, for tolerating me. I have no realization nor any um, qualification, but I'm just repeating what I've heard. And if I spoke anything wrong, please forgive me. And please bless me that I can follow the instructions by Guru and Acharya. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
This Shyam Kishore